Just wait, you guys.
That's an ominous
This
note.
show,
Welcome to the PHNX Suns
this show
Postgame
is
show.
going to be a lot. I promise you that. Because Chelsea's already here.
Oh,
Because the
man.
three of them are on my last nerve.
What did I do?
But welcome in. Eric, too. Can't forget about
Oh my
him.
goodness.
damn.
But welcome in, everybody, to the PHNX Suns postgame show. Shout out to OGs, who I could really use some of right now because y'all got my anxiety and stress levels high AF right
Anxiety.
now.
What did we do to increase your anxiety?
Because I'm stressed and so I'm anxious because I would just like to flick you.
It's not her mic, Saul.
Listen,
Anyway, OG's Brands, the official sponsor of
Physicality doesn't
Flavoring
solve
Fridays.
anything.
Head on over to ogsbrands.com to see their full lineup, including their two newest gummies, the OG's Naturals and the Big OGs, and find out where you can purchase. Just like the Suns, we're not doing great.
those lemon pepper wings ain't gonna fucking eat themselves now, ain't they? They in Atlanta. They're all going to Magic City after this. That's why they played so shitty in the fourth.
Yes, the Suns fall to the Hawks 129-120. More fourth quarter woes for the Phoenix Suns.
All right.
What a bummer. I'm so over this.
To quote Succession, I love you, but you are not serious people. The fourth quarter, that is not serious basketball and has not been for a while now. The turnovers, the poor decision making, this is all mental at this point. It's got to be because, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth quarter, because it just has got to be mental. They can't go from looking halfway decent in the first three quarters in a game to looking like they don't remember how to dribble a basketball. At times it looks like YMCA fourth grade basketball where they're dribbling off themselves. They're throwing a pass where a guy is then like having to walk like he's on a tightrope down the sideline and stepping out of bounds. Like, it's just bizarre. I don't think I've ever seen a team have this kind of weird shift in one quarter in a game perpetually.
I mean, look, the turnovers were bad. I think they had 7 in the fourth quarter and they had 16 for the game. So obviously when you have about half of your turnovers in the fourth, that's going to be bad. I didn't think that fourth quarter was as terrible as what we've seen recently. No. Like, they only wound up losing it by 4 points, and that's what they lost the game by. It's a recurring issue. I thought last game they went to Booker coming off, starting the fourth quarter. And then this game, they went back to what they had been doing. And not that Book saved them in the last fourth quarter by any means, but it was trying something different. This night, they went back to what they had been doing because Book got the 4 fouls. And it just kind of snowballed early a little bit again. But, like, I can't do this after every loss where we go back to, we need a point guard or this and that and the other thing. Like, they're still 14-6 over their last 20 games. They're on the 6th game of a 7-game road trip. The Hawks are a team you should beat, absolutely. But the defense wasn't up to par tonight, and they got worked by Trae Young and his "I got snubbed from the All-Star game."
And okay, a loss is a loss, whatever. I need you to clean up those bad mental mistakes in the fourth. Is my problem. Like, I don't need you to win every game. I understand that you're not going to win every game. I don't care how much talent you have, but those small mistakes, the things that are just ugly basketball that keep occurring, is my biggest concern. Because even in some of these wins they've had those kind of mistakes in the fourth quarter as well. And as we know, if you get to the playoffs and you're doing those things in the fourth quarter, it's going to cost you a series real quick.
Everybody's pretty hard on Bradley Beal.
He's playing through a broken nose possibly twice.
Twice.
Like, shit, man.
I mean,
Like, dude, I get it. I get it. He didn't play good tonight, and he might not be living up to most people's expectations. I think there's plenty to be said about his aggressiveness from time to time. I can see that. You can make an argument for that. But tonight's not one of those nights for me. I don't give a shit if he missed all 50. The guy got hit in the nose, was bleeding, was gonna go to the locker room, decided, no, I'm gonna come back, and he stayed in the game and he tried to power through it. Like, I'm not going to ding him for this game. You know, everybody's going to talk about, like, you know, like you just said, 14-6 in their last 20. And, you know, sometimes people think that the fourth quarter isn't that big of a deal and all this other stuff. Well, I don't think Bradley Beal's that big of a deal. I think he's going to be fine. In the long term, he's going to figure it all out. But I'm just like, bro, like, have you ever been hit in the nose? And then on top of that, he has gauze up in his nose under the mask. The guy can't breathe.
Right.
And he's still out there trying to do his best, man. I'm not even trying to throw Bradley Beal on the bus.
Still cutting to the hoop. He was aggressive in that way. I get that he's missing open threes, but it's happened in part because he can't see right either. When you get hit in the nose like that, it affects everything on your face.
And
I agree.
He was at damn near 40% from three on the season until the game he got hit in the nose. Since that game, he is 4 for 29 from three, which is about 13.8%.
Which is
like,
cheap.
it's clearly, it's awful, but it's clearly affecting his ability to knock down the open threes. And it was very obvious tonight. It went 0 for 7. He was 5 for 9 inside the arc. Like, this is not a case of a player not being up to snuff or not being good enough. It's a case of he's not knocking down threes because he got a mass in his face.
But also, like, okay, cool. You think Bradley Beal shouldn't have played tonight, or you think he's been trash all season. Tell me who else is going to play.
Right.
Who else you got?
Well,
like, stop with the foolishness. Like, and if you don't have, listen, I embrace solutions, not problems. So if you don't want to come to the table in the chat and bring something that's viable, then stop.
Can you trade for Chris Paul?
But look, Beal had 10 assists tonight too, and 4 rebounds. He was doing other things. I understand the shooting isn't where you'd want it to be, but you also have to take into account the other things that he was doing as well. And I'm not defending shooting 13% from three since he broke his nose. That is abysmal. I get that. It's not great, but again, there's multiple factors. Like, you can't just be like, this guy sucks, he's washed, the contract isn't worth it.
Right.
When you're just choosing to ignore what likely is 2 broken noses, in a couple weeks
like
span.
4 days.
And we didn't hear anything about this over the last few weeks when the team was winning, and we were praising Bradley Beal for his ability to put pressure on the rim, for the way that he was distributing and putting up stats in multiple categories, even though he was 3rd in the pecking order behind Durant and Booker. So don't come out here now just because Beal has had a rough stretch playing through a broken nose and act like this has been the storyline all season, because it hasn't. He's been doing a really good job. And when the big three are on the court together, they are dominant. They're more dominant than the Brooklyn Nets big three was when they played together, and that was a dominant trio.
All 12 minutes they played together.
Stop. It was not more. It was more than that. My point is, this is a dominant team when they have their pieces available. They need Beal to get right. They need to get his nose right and hopefully stop taking shots to the face. Feels like we haven't had a game where a Suns player hasn't had a shot to the face in like 3 years. But they need to get through this stretch, and they need to continue building, and that's what they're doing. This is a bad loss. It's not a good loss. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But again, 14-6 over the last 20. Like, there is no reason for us to be freaking out about things like we're back in December again.
I mean, the fact that we haven't won in Atlanta since March of 2020 or 2014 is pretty insane.
It's wild.
I was running the Suns Twitter account. That's how long ago that was. I'm on my 4th career since then.
That was a lifetime ago. That stat absolutely blew my mind. And like, I think as much as I can't even wrap my head around the idea, like, granted, I get you play the 1 year, whatever, but it's still 10 years. Like, how do they have our number so much that we can't win in Atlanta? Like, what is it about the Atlanta Hawks, or what is it about the Suns going to Atlanta that keeps us from being able to snap this losing streak.
Let's be fair. From 2014 to 2019, everybody had the Suns number. All right,
That's true.
They were like that guy you knew in high school that dated everybody.
Pull
all
off
right,
some big wins every once in a while.
I feel like we had in recent years 2 games where we played the Hawks in Atlanta, and it was like the day of the trade line or the day after a trade, and so the Suns bench was like completely depleted. I know that that was the case for the KD trade.
Yes, last year.
Like it was we were running on fumes that day, so I can't imagine how they were feeling.
I mean, to be fair, they have very little bench now too. So.
Yeah.
Well, and this year, like you said, we got the Trae Young revenge sort of snub from the All-Star game kind of situation going on where he was probably feeling some type of way. The crowd was definitely feeling it. Like you could hear it on the broadcast, and people were tweeting about the crowd out in Atlanta cheering like Trae Young All-Star or All-Star Trae Young, whichever one it was. So, they probably had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They were playing with a little bit of edge.
I did not like the amount of threes that the Suns got up. I felt like they should have shot a lot more, especially in that first half. At one point, the Hawks had a 21-8 advantage in threes, and we weren't even halfway through the second quarter. Like you got to get them up more. And Grayson Allen to only have threes. Somebody pointed that out in the chat 1,000,000%. Like that's another example. Like he's one of your best shooters. Run some action for him to get a clean shot. Like you got the players out there to do it, so do it. But they don't do it.
To be fair, they had 37. I mean, we keep harping on that between 35 and 40 in that range. They got there. You just can't. I mean, when 7 of them come from Beal, who couldn't hit from there. I mean, that's problematic. They still shot 37% from deep. It's just
when they did start getting up threes in that third quarter, because I think they had like 13. That's when they were able to take the lead and change the game. They couldn't hold on to it going into the fourth, but that was kind of when it shifted and things opened up offensively. And it was because they were playing faster, because they had gotten a couple stops in a row. But if we're looking for the culprit of tonight's loss, like it's the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
We can talk about offense and missed threes all day long, but 129 points on 52% shooting, not going to cut it.
Well, we brought up threes, so why don't we go ahead and look at the rest of the numbers tonight. Presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes.
What's in the box?
So we looked at those threes for the Suns, 14 of 37 for 37.8%. For the Hawks, 17 of 44 for 38.6%. Turnovers were, again, a killer for the Suns tonight. They committed 16 to the Hawks. 9 points off turnovers also were rough. The Hawks were able to get 21 points off of the Suns' 16 turnovers, whereas the Suns were only able to get 5 points off of the Hawks' 9 turnovers. And then, of course, fourth quarter points, 25 for the Suns to 29 for the Atlanta Hawks. Turnovers are so annoying with this Suns team specifically, because some of them, like, again, we've done this song and dance so many times before. Some of them, I understand. You're getting doubled. Teams are throwing different defenses at you because you have a big three and they have to try different things. But some of them are just so egregious and so sloppy and lazy, and it's frustrating as hell.
The frustrating part is a lot of them are live ball turnovers too that lead to very easy fast break points. And we said it before in pregame, like the Hawks are a top 10 team in points off turnovers. You need to limit your turnovers against this team because they will make you pay. And that's exactly what happened. They were sloppy with the ball. In some instances, there were a couple of plays where like Eric Gordon was walking on a tightrope on the sideline, and that was just a random unforced scrap play. Like just things like that really bring you down, and especially in the fourth quarter when this team already gets frustrated by the misses. You can't afford to not get those shots up and to give them easy looks off of those turnovers.
Well, and you can't keep giving the opponent more shots than you get. It was 7 more shots tonight than the Suns got. We've seen this in other losses on this trip, the 2 losses. That becomes a recurring pattern. And so now you're not only, having to try to shoot as many threes or more than your opponent, you're also spotting them opportunities that you're not getting. It's just, you can't win basketball like that. You can't continually give up more shots than you're taking. It's just the math doesn't work.
And on top of that, the shots that you are giving up, a lot of them are open shots. There was a couple possessions, and this isn't even movement, okay? Bogdanovich. I always say Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich is in the corner, and Bradley Beal is literally standing next to him. I don't know what Brad was looking at, but the ball got skipped from the other side of the court right over his head to Bogdanovich, and then he turns his head and he's like, oh, shit, wide open three. Boom, right there in front. And he was right there. There was another one where Eric Gordon, for whatever reason, I don't know what he was doing, was guarding DeJounte Murray at the top of the key. And he's like looking over here to the left. DeJounte just crosses him over and gets a wide open layup. I'm like, bro, what are you doing out here? Like, there's no resistance. And some of these things are just so preventable. And that's the thing that I always get frustrated about. It's just like, man, this is just, I just call it nonsensical basketball, because that's what it feels like. It's just these are simple things that you should be able to correct. You know, you always have one eye on the ball, and man, like you gotta be right there. How did these things keep happening is just baffling.
And I think the frustration too is that it's not even just about like this one particular win. Like, because Gerald, all the things that you're mentioning, like, you know, super long road trip. It's not like the Hawks are a terrible team, and they did come into tonight's game with, on a 2-game win streak, beat some good teams. So I'm not saying that the Hawks aren't beatable by what the Suns' standard should be this year,
Right.
but they're not the bottom of the barrel either, in my opinion. And but all the things that I get what you're saying, but it is frustrating that it's the same little things that seem to hurt us. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, right? But every night it's that. It's just pattern. sometimes we get them patched up just enough to win the game. Yeah. But other nights it's like we don't. But it's always the same culprit over and over and over. Yeah. That's the hard part.
It's the fourth quarter. It's the turnovers. It's not getting enough threes. And sometimes it's the defense. Although I will say over the last 10 to 15 games, they've been a borderline top 10 defense. So it's one of those things where we pick and choose when we choose to pay attention to some of this team's problems. But like, for the people that are saying this proves they need a point guard and the turnovers prove they need a point guard, you need a backup point guard. You need someone to come in there in those minutes when Book is resting, because those lineups with Beal and Durant struggle. They struggle with turnovers. They struggle with getting shots. They struggle with making those shots. They struggle with defense. It all morphs into this horrible start to the fourth quarter. A backup point guard would help you there. You don't need a starting point guard. Look at the numbers from the big three. Look at the numbers from the starting lineup. Look at the turnover numbers from tonight. KD was the one with 4 turnovers. Bradley Beal had 4 turnovers. That's where you need a backup point guard for those lineups, so you're cutting down on those turnovers. Your main point guard, Book, only had 2 turnovers. You can live with that. The thing is, like, you need someone to run the offense for that stretch when Booker's not out there, because every piece of data that we have on this team shows that they're just fine with their starting 5 in terms of executing offense.
Did you notice that Devin Booker had 0 shots in the fourth quarter?
I did.
I mean, that seems like a weird thing. And now they shot well as a team in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were 9 of 15. They shot 60%, but it surprised me that Book didn't have any shots in the fourth. And also, I get that he had 4 fouls, but Vogel going from making that change, and it seemed to kind of settle them down. There were still some things in that Nets game, but to abandoning it, I didn't like that. He's got 4, but you need to start that fourth quarter off right and set that tone, and you take the chance, I think, because if they had set that tone, they come out, he helps them kind of keep things calm. You don't turn over the ball. You might get a different result here. Instead, we see the same things that happen when you don't have him out there to start a fourth. And then it doesn't matter if he has 4 fouls, because then you're playing, catch up ball and trying to figure out things there in the fourth, like you've had to in other situations. I would have just let it ride and taken my chances on him picking up a 5th there.
Yeah. And I feel like the chat, for the most part, agrees with that one as well. But that was definitely something we all kind of were like, wait, is he really going to revert back after just one game? And then obviously we looked at the fouls and realized that was the reasoning behind it. But still, it's like, just commit to it.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. See what happens.
Well, it doesn't feel like he was even going to do it anyway, even without the 4 fouls.
Because he was in late in the third, right?
He pulled him with a minute left, and that was after he got his 4th foul. So if he was planning on doing it, he probably would have pulled him with like 2 or 3 minutes to give him a longer rest. But I don't know.
Yeah. All I know for sure is that Desert Financial Credit Union wants to hook you up with $200, and you should definitely not leave that on the table. For more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. And right now, when you open a free checking account online, you're going to get $200 in bonuses. And that's a good deal and a good way to start your weekend off. You can get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
Gerald.
Yes.
Espo?
He said in his best, most gullible flex voice.
you know how loud that the chat can be sometimes, and fans on Twitter can be sometimes.
I do.
It's deafening, right?
Yeah.
You
It
know
can
what
be
also
fun.
is like that, but it's a hell of a lot more fun.
There's a mute button for that.
Phoenix Raceway, right? We got a chance to go out there and visit Phoenix Raceway the other day, and I got to tell you, I've never been a NASCAR guy. I've never been out to a race. I've watched a few, but we got to ride around the track in the pace car.
Mm-hmm.
I won't tell you how fast we went, but we got to ride around the track in the pace car. And I got to tell you, that was some of the most fun I've ever had.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. And I'm really actually looking forward to the race coming up here next month, because I got an appreciation in a small dose for what those guys go through driving around that track at high speeds. And I'm really looking forward to March 8th through the 10th as the Valley of the Sun roars to life, as they say here, because that race is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. And you can get your tickets for the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway, March 8th to the 10th, as the weekend promises to have good vibes for the whole family. And you can get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com. And if you get a chance, I recommend you sit on the hill, right? Have you? It's like, looks like the coolest thing in sports. It's like it's a literal hill that you can go sit on and watch the race and bring your own cooler and tents and stuff. I'm excited for it.
Fans are not. They're not a big fan of your transition tonight.
I don't really give a shit what they think because you know what? I do it well, and they're just haters.
Oh,
So.
wow.
I mean, I think it's funny. I think it's become one of my favorite little bits on this show.
They said
personally.
Espo's transition was like the Suns in the fourth.
That was one guy, all right? That was one guy.
There was somebody else.
Hey,
Too.
Eli
Eli hates
pokes
on me
fun
all
at
the time.
Espo, so-
Eli just a hater, all right?
I can't
Haters
really
gonna
buy
hate.
into
That
that
was
one
funny.
too much, to be completely honest with you.
I like Eli.
All right,
Hey,
guys.
Gerald,
Yeah.
read between the lines, all right?
Are you giving me the 11s?
I'm giving you the 11.
The 11s. Are you guys kind of got all the bad juju from the fourth quarter out of the way?
Were we gonna talk about the good stuff?
Well, we were going to hand out a flower.
One lone flower.
One lone
Please.
flower. Maybe two.
A pedal.
Okay, fine. We'll talk about some other stuff then first. There's a couple comments in the chat that were saying, why did it feel like the Suns went away from Nurk when he was feasting in the first quarter specifically, but early on in this game, it kind of felt like they went away from him, and then they also did him dirty by leaving him out to dry against Trae Young multiple times tonight.
Yeah, their low man coverage was bad, and some of their defense's coverages, it did seem like they were switching Nurk and Eubanks onto Trae Young a little bit there. I think they were probably just trying to show him some size, but I need to go back and watch it, honestly. And as far as like taking him out and not giving him enough minutes or not feeding him enough, I'm so tired of talking about not feeding centers enough. But I feel like
It's different though, Gerald. It's different.
Is it?
It is.
It's different, but it's
It
the
is.
same.
It's sort of different because like Nurk will actually punish those mismatches like down low. Like he was 7 for 9. He was really rolling early on. So I get it to a certain degree, but the game kind of changed in the third quarter. They opened it up. They were taking a lot more threes, and that's what got them back in the game. So I understand with the way that the Hawks were rolling offensively, the way that Trae was pulling up from 35 feet and drilling everything, you want to get a more switchable lineup out there. So I think that's why they went small with KD at the 5. And for the people that have forgotten, like that's how they won a couple of games recently, by going to KD small at the 5 in the fourth, and it worked perfectly. It's not going to work every single time, and it didn't tonight, but I thought it was worth a try just to try and change the flow of the game in the fourth there.
I agree. I get. I wish. I actually agree. I do think that they should have played Nurk a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I know they wanted to go small. That's all well and good, but I didn't feel like towards the end of the game that he was really the reason why they were going to lose. You know what I mean? Like you might as well go ahead and just go with him, because he was the only one that was really doing anything significant down low on the block. So it's just, again, it wasn't the best game for him. The Hawks are not a great matchup for him because they do like to get out and run, and they have a lot of mobile guys. But, hey, when you don't have a lead and you can't impose your will with Nurk, he becomes a liability to some degree. And that's why the Suns, when they take the lead, they gotta play a lot more effective, and they gotta stop turning the ball over, and they gotta play smarter. But they don't. And when they get to the fourth quarter, Nurk sits at some points, and they go with different lineups to try and test and get back into the game. And they did that when they were down 20 to Chicago. They did that when they were down 20 to the Kings. And they tried to do it again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I get what they're trying to do. I also sometimes think Frank Vogel gives a little too much into the other team's style of play. We did see early on Nurk was effective. He was 7 of 9 and was effective around the rim. So I don't know. I understand why he went to that lineup because, as you said, it's had success, but it didn't feel like it mattered much what they were going to go to. Once that fourth started, you kind of just felt like, okay, this is one of those nights where they may not get control back in this fourth, and you got to try something. And they tried it with KD at the center. I mean, I'm not mad at it, I guess.
How much of this loss do you put at the feet of Frank Vogel and the coaching staff? So we got a super chat from Scott. Thank you for your super chat. Scott said, time to replace Vogel with Young. If Young doesn't work out, then hire Kerr in the offseason. But beyond this comment, there were quite a few in the chat that have been pointing out coaching as one of the culprits for this fourth quarter continued struggle bus.
I think this is a meltdown by a lot of different people, and coaching included. I don't know why they went away from the book starting in the fourth quarter minutes. I thought that's something that at least slowed down the chaos that was happening in the fourth quarters of late. And but they opted to sit Book down. I get the 4 fouls, but it's the fourth quarter. I don't know. I am confounded by this team and by Frank Vogel at times. I just don't understand some of the decisions that they make, and it leads to a lot of distrust about this team because I don't know what to believe in. Like, the numbers will tell you one thing, but then you look at how they play sometimes, you're like, man, but my eyes are telling me something completely different. And it's super frustrating. You know what I mean? And so this is just another example of that. And Frank Vogel he's got to do better. He does have to do better. He's got to understand what is really going to work against a team like the Hawks. And I felt like he was experimenting a little too much, especially in the second half, with guys that weren't really performing.
I mean, who was not performing?
Well, like Eubanks wasn't playing very well, and I'm like, I get you're gonna throw him in there in spot minutes. I get that, but I didn't feel like he was really a factor like he had been. He had been playing at a high level. He wasn't playing very well. I would have preferred to stick with Nurk a few more times than Eubanks. KBD was pretty good in the first half, I thought. In the second half, I thought he was kind of not really much of a factor. I mean, you got Metu and you got Nas Little on the side, and I know there's other things going on, but that's all I'm going to say.
I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the Eubanks minutes. He still brought some energy. He had 6 points on 3 of 3 shooting, 4 rebounds. There were a few times I would have rather he grabbed the ball than tip it out and stuff. I just my issue is the Book thing. I think from time to time Frank falls into that Monty thing where he doesn't take a timeout when runs start happening a little bit.
I disagree. I feel like he's really good about that.
I don't know. I think we're
This
nitpicking.
is a perfect example. It's confounding. You don't know what to believe in, and it's confusing sometimes. Sometimes there's a rhythm to it. Sometimes there's not, and that can be said for players and coaches. Like, I just don't know what to see.
But I feel like our impulse when we're confused by something or when something doesn't make sense on the court is to chalk it up as a coaching thing and call it that. Like, oh, the coach isn't motivating them the right way or the coach isn't doing this and that. I agree. I think Book should start fourth quarters and they need to tinker around with that a little bit more and continue to experiment. I was kind of disappointed they went away from that tonight. But, like, Vogel is not the reason that Kevin Durant is getting stripped. He's not the reason that Eric Gordon is tiptoeing on the sideline and falling out of bounds. Like, these are plays that veterans of their caliber should be able to make. And a lot of their missed shots, their defensive lapses, their turnovers. Like, these are just confounding plays because we don't understand why players this good are not figuring it out in that regard. That's not a coaching thing.
But that might be why you're looking to blame the coaching staff, is because you're like, it's Kevin freaking Durant.
But Kevin freaking Durant turns the ball. He's turned the ball over like that for years. Like, he's been a high turnover guy, but he's phenomenal in every other area of the game. Like, going back and watching his tape from Brooklyn when he first came here, I was kind of flabbergasted. Like, damn, he loses the handle a little bit. He gets stripped more than I thought he did, honestly, at this stage. But everything else that he does is way more important than that. So it's just one of those things that when you have superstars, they're going to have the ball a lot. They're going to turn the ball over quite a bit. You hope that they're not the live ball ones that KD has sometimes where he throws it cross court, gets picked off for a pick six. Like, that's, I don't know.
I tend to agree. I'm there with Saul that this team is confounding in a lot of ways, and I don't understand what is what. The thing that I think this team loses focus sometimes, it feels like, and I don't know. I don't think that's on the coach, but like we were talking before the game, they were over the last 10 games before this, they were ranked second in net offense, 11th in net defense. But it still felt like at times their defense kind of breaks down. At certain times, the rotations aren't quite there. And I don't know, is that coaching or is that these guys kind of losing focus? Because defense is all about focus and knowing where you're supposed to be and who's rotating, all those things. But to Saul's point, it's all confounded. I don't know why this team has these moments where they just disappear and turn into a team that reminds you very much of 19-win Suns teams in the way they take over or don't take care of the ball or don't rotate appropriately on defense.
My concern is that I don't think there is this mindset, but my concern is the mindset that kind of reflects a lot of what some of us say from time to time, is that, like, you know, we got time to work these things out. They'll get better as the season goes on. There's still time. There's still time. And yeah, there is still time until there isn't. And you get eliminated. Then you're like, damn, we probably should have fixed this, this, and this. You know what I mean? And so I just hope that we're not going towards that path where we see these things. You know, Book said that in the 64-win season, there were things that needed to be improved, but because they were winning, it kind of hid those blemishes. And they're not winning nearly as much as they were in that 64-win season right now. But because you have the talent of the big three, maybe it's giving you a false sense of security that, you know what, at some point we're all going to click and it's going to be okay. And I'm just not that fervent of a believer that that's going to be the case. At some point, you have to improve. You have to be better with the ball. When you have in the high teens amounts of turnovers for a professional basketball team, that is going to cost you games. And it has for the Suns multiple times. When you get out rebounded, when you get less shots than the other team, like it feels like every single game we're getting less shots than the other team right now. And it's just, these are the things that can be prevented and need to be prevented if you have any aspirations of doing anything in the playoffs. And that's my concern.
But wouldn't you say, though, I totally agree with that, because I don't think it's a guaranteed that this team is just going to suddenly click and magically be a title contender. But when you say we should probably wait until after they played 20 games together to start ruling definitively either way. Like, there's still only, what was this, game 18
I'm tired of waiting.
I know you are. I know everyone is. But, like, I keep going back to this.
We've been
it's
waiting
not
all
going to fucking happen on your terms. It's going to happen when they get enough reps together. Like,
I
that's
know.
what it is.
But I'm tired.
So this is my other thing, okay? If we're going to say that, are we talking about just the big three or the entire team?
I'm talking about the big three. I'm talking about the starting lineup. I'm talking about more games for him to figure out, okay, who is in this rotation, this playoff rotation, because it feels like we're getting closer. If you look at the guys that have been playing over this last week or two, it's Drew Eubanks, it's KBD, it's Josh Okogie, it's Eric Gordon, and all four of them have showed flashes of moving towards something more stable, like moving towards something a little bit more consistent. Like Gordon was shooting the lights out. He was only 2 for 5 tonight, but he's been good. Okogie had a string of good games, wasn't great tonight. But Drew Eubanks, 3 for 3. I think he's missed like 2 shots in the last 2 weeks overall. Like, we're getting closer, but it's not going to magically click. It's not going to happen overnight. And they're still being able to string along wins while they face these junk defenses that they're seeing every night. So I get it's frustrating, but that's kind of going back to what you were talking about when Book was saying, we're getting adversity, we're seeing different looks, we're seeing all this different stuff. Like, it's not going to be smooth sailing. It's going to be choppy waters, but you hope that when you get through the other side of it, you're prepared for a lot of what you're going to see come playoff time when you are getting hit with all these junk looks and all these different things that they're going to throw at you.
I get it. And I understand the games with the big three. Sunday marks the 50th game overall for the team. I get the big three at that point will have only played 19, but we're seeing the same mistakes. If there were like a bunch of different things and it was different things that were occurring that were causing the issues, I tend to agree, but we're seeing the same mistakes.
In losses.
In losses, yes. And
we can't just ignore the wins.
No, not necessarily. Not
It
necessarily.
happens in wins.
Yeah.
The Suns just are able to get the win, but
fourth
they're
quarters,
still
yes.
there.
Well,
In the
no,
fourth
just like
quarters,
in
yes.
general, like for instance, like I could understand chemistry issues when you think somebody's going to make a backdoor cut and they don't, and you throw the backdoor cut and it goes out of bounds. Like I can deal with that kind of stuff, but it's the dribbling off the foot, it's the lazy passes that they have full control over, but they're just playing sloppy. That's just sloppy basketball, and that happens in the wins and the losses. It's not just the losses for sure. And those are the things that need to be tightened up. And even in the wins, they've been out rebounded before in the wins. They've given up more shots to the other team in wins too. But again, like either they're going to address it and get better about it or they're not. And I don't know if those things, specifically those things, turnovers and rebounds, are they going to get better just because they're playing more together as a team by the time they get to game 82? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the fear is, okay, sure, they need more time, but you're running out of time as well. And okay, what happens if they don't get it together? Well, you have no options after, 6 days from now to make any changes. So then it winds up just being a lost season because nothing does change, even with more time. And I think that's the fear for people. That's why it's I want to know now because I'm not going to have an opportunity to change anything.
The shit show is coming. And if they don't fix it right now, they will not have any other opportunities to be able to fix them in the off season and moving forward. And that's the panic that Espo's talking about. It's like, like this team is going to be extremely limited moving forward after this trade deadline season. So there's a little bit of a sense of urgency, I would say for sure. And maybe that is contributing to a little bit of the panic that we have after some of these losses, because we're hoping that they're going to figure it out because we feel like, shit, like I don't know what's going to happen after this season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, and just the expectations that we all had coming into this season too. Like, don't get me wrong, I know we talked ourselves into some of the guys that are coming off the bench for the squad, but like as far as the big three, the starters, like Grayson Allen has outperformed what I think we all anticipated him to. So that's been a pleasant surprise. But even knowing that was a surprise, I still think we expected, the big three plus Grayson Allen or the starters, whoever that fifth starter was, to be better than sort of what we've gotten all season. And I know a large majority of the reason has been injuries. And that's out of their control entirely, but it doesn't fix the feeling. Like you have the logical side of your brain that's telling you, well, injuries make things harder to find chemistry and to build it and to go through all of this and figure it out and iron out the wrinkles. But emotionally, it doesn't matter.
I get that. But I'd never approach it from a place of emotion. Like I'm sorry, they haven't played 20 fucking games together. Like, what are we doing?
They're at 18. Is 2 games going to change anything?
But I'm not saying the 20 mark makes a big difference. I'm saying they haven't even fucking played 20 games together yet. We said coming into the season, we need to see them play 50 to 60 ideally for us to feel good. And even then, they're still at a continuity disadvantage compared to a team like the Nuggets, compared to, like, even at this point, they're going to be at a continuity disadvantage severely to a team like the Clippers. Like, that is something that talent and like sheer will is going to have to overcome. But like, they're not even 40% to what we wanted them to be to feel okay about them in a playoff series. And that's the hard part for me, is that, like, I don't know if they're going to get to that point.
I want to turn a negative into a positive. What have you seen that has encouraged you in the 18 games that as they get more reps, that they will be able to turn into something closer to what we expected.
The fact that they're 14-6 since after that Christmas beatdown they got, the fact that their big three like has an astronomical net rating together, the fact that their starting lineup has an astronomical net rating, like we do this thing where we're the prisoner of the moment and only look at one specific game. And I get we have to do pregame and postgame shows.
I'm get paid
that's
to do that, Gerald.
But like when you look at the overall picture, there are going to be bad losses throughout the season. Every team sustains it. The Celtics got their ass beat by the Clippers the other night, like a couple of weeks ago. They're still one of, if not the best team in the NBA. It happens. Like obviously you don't want it to happen to a sub 500 team, but all the numbers point to when this team is at full strength, they're really good. And so the fact that they've been able to build on that and string together 14 wins and 20 tries is encouraging to me.
Gerald, one last question. Can we switch seats? Because I feel like that is the positivity seat. And I want to see if I can tap into that energy.
You might be onto something, Espo.
I feel like this seat has power.
I don't know, but I think Eric in the chat has figured it out for us. Just send Emma Stone on all the road trips.
There you go. Problem solved.
Problem literally solved. Eric, you're a genius. Matt HBO owes you $1 million. Not that, Eric. The show, the chat, Eric. You and I are still in a fight. Espo, you and I are also in a fight.
Was this an ad transition?
Because you bet against my guy Nurk, and you jinxed him tonight, and that's why he lost the tip. And I'm so mad at you for it.
Hold on, I don't have that kind of power. If I did, we'd have 40.
You are literally the jinx.
Hold on. I'm kind of pissed off at you here too, because the deal was you were gonna bet Nurk, I was gonna bet Capella, and we were gonna do that, and you screwed up. So instead of me being able to gloat, you're sitting here telling me that I'm the problem when you're the problem.
Well,
all right?
I forgot. You should have reminded me.
Chelsea.
Oh, it's always your
That's
fault.
always my job.
You should have. Jeez. When you saw that I sent in a bet that wasn't that one, you should have reminded me.
He got you. He got you.
I ain't your dad.
I
don't need to tell you.
I totally forgot about that one, but it's a good thing I forgot because I picked something else and I won my bet. So that means Espo and I both won tonight. Saul and Flex both lost tonight with the Suns. So right now, we are looking at Saul with a 146. Oh no, Espo, you took the lead.
The king is back.
Oh no. Dang it. It's the worst day ever. Espo's in the lead, 163.50. Saul is in second at 146. I'm in third with $90.56. And Flex is still in the negative, minus 26.01.
Hello down there, Flex.
I know, blessings. If you guys want to get in on the action,
see the stop from all the way down that low.
with the BetMGM Sportsbook app, make sure you sign up using the promo code PHNX, because all you have to do when you use that promo code to sign up is place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app of at least $5, and you're going to receive $158 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Damon talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms. This promotional offer is not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Get stuffed, Ontario. Four Peaks, new beer, new year. Bad Birdie, Juicy Golden Ale. Am I not allowed to do ad reads?
Overcorrecting.
Y'all broke him.
Gerald, how do I fix this? What what do I need to do?
I think you need to go to the fridge and get yourself a Four Peaks.
That's my man. That's how you get it back on track. Four Peaks is the best local brewery. I love the beers there, and the newest, the Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale, is a perfect pairing for when you're out there on the links playing some golf. I may not play well, but at least I have some fun thanks to my friends over at Four Peaks. I highly recommend you check them out and visit them at 4peaks/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. Check out Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly.
Yes. All right, let's take a peek at some super chats here. So Dawn sent us one. Thank you, Dawn. They said Booker was 0 shots in the fourth quarter against a terrible Hawks defense. Suns keep finding new ways to screw themselves in fourth quarters.
Not wrong.
Yeah, he needs a shot.
Travis sent us one. Travis said the MB we need isn't Bridges, it's more Bowl.
I would have tried that in the fourth. I mean,
why not? He was playing well before he got hurt. Give him a shot.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want. Like, if we're going to take L's, at least let us watch Bobo play a little basketball.
I love that we're acting like they're on a 9-game losing streak. Please, we need Bobo. Entertainment value, please.
Kev sent us one. Thank you, Kev. They said, fourth quarter curse, real AF, hashtag real cheeks clinic with a peach emoji and a hospital emoji.
I mean,
Not a whole clinic.
A whole clinic. Why is everybody giving us thumbs down? We're not the ones saying it. Jesus.
Real cheeks
Oh,
clinic.
they're not giving us thumbs down for the super chat. No,
Real
they're
cheeks
mad at us for a
clinics.
bunch of other things.
Is that where you get the ass implants? Like, is that
Cheeks clinic.
the real cheeks clinic?
Oh no.
Hold on, we need a cheeks theme song. We need to come up with
We need a
something
theme
for
Man,
the
we
cheeks.
we came up with one for Gordon.
Oh god.
We'll get to that at some point, but I need something with cheeks. A logo, a song, something to commemorate.
We should do something with it for sure.
Oh boy.
D Nice sent us one. Thank you. They said the defense continues to be their Achilles heel.
It will be. It will be. No, I mean it's going to be the whole season. They're not. I know they improved this past couple weeks, but I just don't think in their DNA they're a bunch of like defensive dogs. But you don't need them to be. If they score at a high level and you can get them, to be just a relatively decent defensive team, and that's why I go back to the whole like standing and watching your guys shoot right in front of your face kind of thing, or just being lax on defense and not really being locked in. Those are the types of things that they're going to have to prevent when they get to the playoffs. And if they can do that, then they're going to be okay. But I mean, we've seen them do this a little too much for my liking.
Yeah. Turnovers and defense are the biggest concerns, like especially because the turnovers are all so sloppy for the most part.
Michael sent us one and they said fourth quarter solutions. Trade for a point guard or D-wing or time.
Oh,
How do we trade for time? Can we?
We
No,
go back.
that was just the first one. Trade for a point guard or D-wing. They're separate.
Because if we could trade for some additional time before the playoffs,
Yeah.
I'm willing to give up all the second round.
Yeah, you can have all the cash considerations for all the time.
Ideally, a backup point guard and a wing would be nice, but I don't know if you can pull off both.
Yeah. The only way you're pulling that off is if somehow, some way you find something on the buyout market that is going to suffice, and I just don't see that happening. So
Yeah.
I'll read the next one. Killer Rex said, if we played better, Ishbia wouldn't feel like he needs to go make a move to get Miles Bridges. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. If that ends up happening, listen, I think you are looking at your options if you're the Phoenix Suns. If this team was playing at a higher level, you're probably not looking as desperately as you are looking. But if they make a move like this, that clearly shows that they're desperate for another move, because otherwise, why would you make a move like that?
I don't know, man. That's tough. They're winning at a 70% clip since that Christmas beatdown. I feel like that's a high percentage, but I get the overall picture, I guess.
I think a lot of this comes down to you backed yourself into a corner in terms of trade assets and stuff. And if you go value hunting, you wind up in weird places to try to find that. And I feel like that the entire trade deadline is that situation right now. You're trying to turn Nasir Little, some second round picks, and another minimum guy into something that can help you win a title. And I just don't know you can really do that. So you're turning over some weird rocks right now to try to find that answer, and it puts you in weird situations.
Yeah, and if you guys are curious about the latest on Miles Bridges, Flex and Espo have a video up on our YouTube page right now with the latest as far as that goes. So check it out after the show is over, but don't leave yet. Trevor sent us another super chat. They said, hate to say, I don't trust this team when it's close.
That's fair.
It gives me anxiety as well.
I definitely don't trust him as much as I trust Chris Paul.
No. Who was it? Gerald said somebody tweeted tonight, I really miss Chris Paul turning the ball over one time each month.
Yeah, that was Max
I
Potter,
agree.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I also, will be happy when somebody isn't, randomly injured in the playoffs if that occurs too. Like
Fucking
Knock on the
Espo.
wood, man.
touch
Jesus.
metal, whatever your thing is. But
Sir, have you seen our team right
Oh
now?
my God! Seriously,
I mean,
man, we just
come
had
on.
a guy take 2 broken noses in a week.
Okay, but do we
You were
remember how
testing
much?
fate.
Hold on. Do you remember how much everybody
No, you
crapped?
hold on, Espo.
Lindsay, you don't get to talk because of the bet you didn't make. Stop yelling at me.
Like I made him all flustered.
Oh, man.
But do we remember how much we complained about Chris Paul too? We can't be happy in this town. It's always complaining.
It was a joke.
Everybody complains, and I'm sick of it.
It was a
Sick
joke.
of it.
We were having fun.
Serenity now.
Where are we? Who's we?
Tim from Phoenix sent us a super chat and said, meh, I ain't mad at this loss. The smack Beal in the face strategy doesn't seem sustainable, but, we're going to talk about that trade video with Espo and Flex.
We just did, Tim. We just did.
I'm kind of afraid that smack Beal in the face becomes more sustainable the more often it happens.
Oh, no.
Because it ain't going to heal if you keep getting smacked in the face.
God, it's so bad. Lucas sent us one. They said, I wish I didn't have to say this, but Hawks have our hashtag, our number. Why did I read that as hashtag? I did read that.
Hawks have our hashtag.
Yeah,
They
hashtag.
still coming in hot.
Hashtag cheeks
Listen.
in the ATL.
At least I didn't read it as pound sign.
It is.
I think it's clap then.
Hashtag lemon pepper Lou.
It is the peach day.
Why wouldn't I read it as
Full
a
cheeks.
hashtag? Whatever.
What did I say about Atlanta to cause this?
It's not Atlanta. I wish I didn't have to say this, but Hawks have our number, especially in Atlanta. But on the good news, Yotes are more than likely buying land up here in North Phoenix.
Hey, I'll say this. I'm not much like
Oh my God.
much like Gerald won't judge this team until they have more time together. I will not celebrate till there's shovels in the ground and they're actually building an arena. All right,
Yeah.
I've learned my lesson.
Charles sent us one, but I don't see any words on Charles' super chat. But thank you, Charles. And Lucas sent us one and said, "Is the sky falling, everyone?" Laughing face emoji, crying face emoji, laughing face
Did
emoji.
it ever stop?
The sky is always
It's been
falling.
falling for 3 years.
Pugs and Hugs has been hitting us up all night. They said, we want Shane. Where's Shane? Does anybody know where Shane is?
Shane Battier retired.
I'm starting to think Pugs and Hugs is Shane's burner account
Yeah.
because
Pugs
I
and
haven't
Hugs
seen.
is Shane. I haven't seen Pugs and Hugs in a hot minute.
Right? I think we found Shane's burner.
Shane's drunk in
want
Las
Shane.
Vegas on a Winnebago, just going, I need my Shane.
Hi, Pugs and Hugs. Welcome back. It's been a minute. Psycho Blue sent us one and said, I'd say trade everyone, but we're about to. I mean, only some
Katie
of
for
them.
LeBron.
Stop. Why are you trying to
God.
become the dislike
I'm
button?
kidding. Flood the dislike at this point, I guess. It's happening.
No, don't do that.
It's already happening.
Well, don't encourage it.
I encourage you to hit the like button.
Yes,
That's not
thank
going to
you.
change anything.
Lucas sent us one and said, like EJ said, let's focus on how we can help Bridges rather than focus on his disgusting side. I have no problem trading for him so long as he changes. Well, that is your super chat.
As they
I
say,
did-
the proof is in the pudding.
I did like EJ's thoughts, though. Check him out on the YouTube page. There's a clip there that you can hear what Eddie Johnson had to say on the subject as well. Very well thought out.
I'm just going to say briefly, it's not on the Suns to rehabilitate this person,
Mhm.
and redemption for Miles Bridges is not going to come on a basketball court. So
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to buy into that idea at all.
I
We
mean, I
did
don't think he's saying it's just the basketball court, though.
put a poll in the chat, not to completely 180 this conversation, but they said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confused are you about the Suns team? 0 to 2 had 13% of the votes, 3 to 6 had 31% of the votes, and 7 to 10 got 55% of the votes. So everyone's pretty confused sometimes around the Suns team.
I'm confused by the poll. Was 1 the
I
highest
didn't know
level?
what we're doing
Is
here.
10? I don't. The poll confuses me as much as the team.
Blame Rudy. Blame Rudy, but you put 0 to 2 as an option. That's why.
I got that. What that?
Oh my God.
Eric's over here like, a scale of 1 to 10 confuses you? What do you mean? And now he's like, I get it. Oh my goodness. You know what else is fair? Empire Today with their prices and the quality of their work, making sure you are getting everything you deserve in new flooring for your home. With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. You can schedule a free in-home estimate today, and anybody listening can receive a $350 off discount when you use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for details and to check out their super awesome floor visualizer.
How does somebody get skewered for a poll? You have done the unthinkable, Rudy.
It's tough.
Hey, Gerald, can you do me a favor? And Eric, I'm going to need your help. Can you read RG's comment for me here?
RG's comment. Where are we looking?
Right there. You're not right there.
Oh, shut up, Espo.
I will not, because I'm going to tell you about my friends over at OGs. All right.
Damn.
How about that for an address?
That was fucking
I'm not
terrible.
even mad at it. I'm not even mad
On
at
a
it.
scale of 0 to 45, was that good or bad?
It was
Yes, and it's just
creative.
yes or no.
It was creative.
It's Flavoring Friday, and as we know, our producer Rudy has already been in the bag of OGs. But if you want to enjoy the rest of your Friday, we recommend Arizona Scratch-Made THC gummies. They are the best on the market, and they have 2 new products that you're going to love. The OGs Naturals and the Big OGs, and the Big OGs is amazing. It's 100 milligrams, and it's giant, and then it's cut into 10 milligram slices.
Some people call us the big OGs.
They do.
Who?
He said whomst.
Who what?
Who calls you
Who
that?
calls you that?
Some people.
Hey,
Some people.
Some people.
Name
the
them.
people that know.
Names or it's
Yeah.
a lie.
No, it's not a lie.
Names?
Names
No,
or it's a lie.
It's our peeps.
Tracy and Estella. There we go.
There you go.
That makes sense.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Anyways.
Ooh.
Oh.
Damn, that's a second mic drop.
Oh, look
Espo.
at that. You know,
What do you think? I'm going to slander your wives? No, I like them.
take
You
that.
two, on the other hand,
Tracy's
Take
in
that,
there.
Chelsea. Why don't you go have some OGs and calm down and to learn more about OGs gummies and where you can find them, Chelsea, head over to ogsbrands.com.
Why'd you sound like that one character off of South Park? How'd you just take some OGs and calm down?
Mr. Hat.
ooh, buddy. Oh my
man.
God.
My wife, Tracy, lies.
Even Tracy knows nobody calls you guys that. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate you.
Oh, Lucas.
Hey.
Lucas, you're a big OG
Let's go,
song, not
Lucas.
Espo, though.
Oh,
There you
wow.
go, baby. That's my homie.
Wow, Lucas. How disappointing. Have we talked enough trash about the team? Did we hand out a flower yet?
We can.
We were supposed to do that 2
I know,
seconds
but then
ago.
Kev got mad and Kev said we don't want flowers when we lose. But
Really?
we're like an hour in, so can we just do it?
Really quick, Cool just had a great name for another segment we can do. It's called Hope and Dope.
Oh
I
God.
love it. I love it. I love it. Love it.
Dope.
Why do I feel like that might be our nicknames for for like me and Flex?
Yeah,
sometimes.
it might be.
Okay, we're gonna hand out a flower. It's our big bright shiny star.
Who is it?
Boop, boop, boop,
Oh, yeah,
boop.
KD.
I'm a big bright shiny star.
Big, bright, shining star.
It's Kevin
Wow.
Durant, everybody.
Wow. Did you take OGs for real? Oh my gosh.
Did apparently.
Damn.
He finished with 35 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, flirted with a triple-double tonight. He had 2 steals and a block. KD is our big, bright, shiny star for the second night in a row. Unfortunately, we could not get the dub, though.
No, he was great tonight. Like we talked about the turnovers and whatnot, but he was phenomenal overall. 35, 8, and 8. Like he had another really well-rounded game. Second game in a row, he's been great. yeah, it's just unfortunate they weren't able to pull it out and play better in the fourth.
Did he have 3? It was 3 dunks or 4 dunks? He had,
like 4, I think.
It was impressive. His ability to go to the rim tonight, his shooting. KD's amazing. There's no other way to put it. I mean, he's fantastic offensively. He did a little everything. Turnovers, we all know. They all have to clean up that. So I was impressed with him.
Okay, Eric in the chat, not producer Eric, had a great idea, which we actually talked about doing tonight, but we thought it would be way too mean. But we literally discussed this tonight, Eric. Eric said flowers, and now introducing cheeks of the game. We literally talked about doing this tonight, but it would be too mean, you guys.
The sponsorship scares me.
We can't do it.
That can't be a sponsored segment.
Oh, yeah, it can. Come on, man. There's got to be someone out there that wants to sponsor that kind of stuff.
Rudy's Barbecue.
Like, as funny as that is, we just, it's just too much. It's too much. I don't know. All right, a couple more super chats that have come in. Pugs and Hugs said, but you never told me where Shane is. I don't know where
Vegas.
Shane is.
In a Winnebago.
He's actually on his way back from Mobile to Vegas.
Okay.
Shane has literally been just rolling around the country in a Winnebago.
However, after the Super Bowl, he will finally return.
Yay.
We get our Shane
Sorry,
back in about
Rudy.
2 weeks.
Well, it's not to our show.
No, Rudy's staying, isn't he?
Don't inspire confusion in the chat.
There's the way sauce.
I was like, wait, what? I didn't even get it at first. I was like, wait, what?
Please tell me you fired that because of what I said about you and not something happening. Oh, that was I got nervous.
What?
He fired the breaking news sounder. I got real there.
You talk about the worst time ever for any news to drop, it would be right now.
No.
I am not in the mental
Hurry,
capacity.
let's get out of here. Hurry. Cesar sent us.
We would come right back. I don't know where she thinks she would go.
Run away. If I don't see it, it doesn't happen.
Pulling a fire alarm.
You could just pull a Saul and act like you're sleeping.
Cesar sent us one and they said, how many likes for a Roman ad read by Espo? A lot, Cesar. A lot, okay?
Hey, I will read any ad if they pay me money. So it's not likes, it's dollar bills.
We can't give ad reads to non-sponsors anymore because Max, our beloved Max, will absolutely rip our throats out. So
can I?
I mean, I said it last game. I'll say it again. Max can suck it.
You know what I just realized?
Sorry, Max, just kidding.
I'm so disappointed that I didn't save what I did at the beginning of
For the
pregame
post-game, you
for
should've.
post-game because it would have made Saul so goddamn uncomfortable.
Made him so mad.
You still got those clips? Should we show the clip? No, it's fine. So we don't have to. We don't have to. I'll just send Saul the clip multiple times via text tonight. So.
Pugs and Hugs said, let's go till midnight. And then Nate said, we off the rails. Yeah, well, it's Friday.
It is Friday.
That's just kind of how it is. I feel like Fridays are just one of those nights where sometimes things just get a little rowdy.
yeah. Also, like I think
know.
just listen at the end of the show, and it was a kind of a crappy game to watch. It didn't really feel great, and it felt like a scheduled loss for some reason to me. It was just like scheduled loss. I'm not even really that upset about it. I'm just like, all right, well, move on to Washington. They got Washington next, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beat Washington,
Which
close
will
the
be
trip out with a winning record, and
Yeah, we get to see Beal, and then we get to see the other guy you got traded for.
I can't wait for Beal's video.
Good thing I don't have to watch it.
It's like at 4 a.m. on Sunday.
I didn't have to watch it when he came here, and I don't have to watch it when we go there.
How well that worked out.
Kismet.
Okay, do we have your videos or are we not doing that?
I say we don't do. I say
we're not doing that.
I don't
Okay.
want to punish Saul like
I
that.
was ready for it.
All right, fine. Play
Oh my
play the
God,
original
make a
videos then.
decision.
Yeah,
Let's
play
go.
them. Go.
Let's hear it, even though you don't know the difference between Oscar and Cookie Monster. Let's hear what you've got. Don't put any pressure on it. Let it go. Let it fly.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
What was that?
Oh, no. Okay. Brock Purdy isn't a game manager. He's a game changer.
Sesame Street starting 5. Who you taking? Ooh, okay. First of all, my start 5. Cookie Monster. Definitely that, okay?
It ain't just me, Bookman. Would you rather deal with those two
at
Cookie
least
Monster
Espo's is
impressions?
actually good. And I'm not trying to throw shade at them because doing a Cookie Monster voice is not easy. But at least Espo's actually sounds like Cookie Monster.
How great was that? Lindsey can't even slightly slander me to times and see it. I mean, I give you credit for trying.
No, I just don't want to compliment you after tonight and all your shenanigans.
Me don't like Chelsea. Chelsea mean.
That's right. Remember it, Espo. Don't forget it.
Yeah, I really don't have any thoughts on that.
But his is actually better than theirs.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
It sounds more like Cookie Monster.
It all sounds the same to me.
Bro.
It all sounds the same
You're full
to
of
me.
it.
Why do I feel like
said you're all cheeks and I'm not
I feel like Saul has never seen Sesame Street now. I'm questioning if he's ever seen Sesame Street.
Maybe not. Kev asked, what is this segment? This is the Friday night segment.
Yeah, this is the
we need
we're
to
just
go.
fucking around.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
Okay, so we'll head out. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Thanks
We
a lot,
appreciate
Kevin. You just ruined the whole night.
Kevin's like mom and dad. Like,
It's
my
time
mom
for
and dad
bed.
said I have to go home now.
All right.
Oh, Kevin. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Sorry, Kevin. I didn't mean to just like completely throw shade on you. I'm just kidding, Kev. I promise. We will keep you guys posted if anything happens in the next however many days leading up to the trade deadline. So just know that if something does happen, we'll likely have an emergency pod in the next handful of minutes after that.
I'll address it when you tell me to take the from the end.
We'll have
all
a
right?
show for you on Sunday,
You gotta read
pregame
it out
and
loud
postgame.
because we're laughing.
I will.
You can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsey Smith AZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald_Game. You can follow Espo at Espo. Get somebody fill me in on what's going on.
As Will H in the chat says, whose Cookie Monster is better poll? A, Espo, B, 0 to 2, C, above average, and D, Cheeks Clinic. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.